Peace and Black Power family. I'm standing here with my sister Trina in the building. This is the sister that called in the show, Sister Trina. She used to be, I did an interview with you.
You did a whole interview with me.
Wow, you look different. I mean, you're still gorgeous, you're beautiful, but you look different, man. You went to Israel, and you found out it wasn't really what it was supposed to be.
It was all a great big lie. And when I found that out, I was like, yo, I gotta rearrange some stuff. I gotta get down to the core of who I really am. Just sitting there being a Hebrew was not good enough for a goddess like myself.
Right.
So I kicked it to the curb. I moved on and accepted myself for who I am, which is a goddess, a black queen.
Now, did you have problems with the teachings of Hebrew Israelite, especially the way the teachings when it comes to women? What do you think about that?
Absolutely, I had a problem with the teachings that these Hebrew Israelites come with, because anytime you want to suppress the divine feminine aspect of God, you're going to have some very serious problems. You cannot downplay the equal half of the masculine side of God. And that's what the Hebrew Israelites, having no metaphysical understanding of who the woman is and what her true role is, which is equality.
Let me get them in the back.
Cool. Oh. Which is equality to the divine, to God, the divine masculine. If she cannot be in the place of equal to God, the divine masculine part, then something is going to fall off. You cannot expect to advance if you are crushing and destroying the divine woman. The masculine and the feminine go hand in hand. The Hebrew Israelites only seek to destroy the essence of the woman, the black woman. And since they destroy her, they destroy themselves. You cannot have one without the other. The divine masculine and the divine feminine are equal. They are not at war. This is not a battle between men and women. This is about balance and equality for one another and respect for what one another does.
So when you hear them say that the black woman cannot teach, you are not a teacher as far as when it comes to God. You can't really teach the Bible when it comes to this Bible. What is your take on that?
That's pure nonsense. Anybody can teach the Bible if they have the correct understanding, and the Hebrew Israelites do not have the correct understanding because they lack understanding of metaphysics. If you're going to teach the Bible, you need to know it on a metaphysical level so that you can advance yourself spiritually. Anybody can teach the Bible, be it a man or a woman, and the only reason why brothers that are part of that particular religion say that a woman cannot teach the Bible is so that they can sit in a corner and feed their egos, going absolutely nowhere. Anytime you're sitting there focused on feeding your ego, you are not going to advance and you're not going to develop. And plus that, you miss out on the education that a sister can provide, just like a brother can, but maybe from a different approach and a different angle. Good luck, brother. You ain't going too far with it, but hey, do what works best for you.
Do you think he will ever wake up?
Will he ever? If he's not awake now, knowing you and knowing so much, having access to so much information, no, he's not going to wake up. And he's not going to wake up because it's not his time to wake up. And it's not his time to wake up and know thyself. It's not his time. It ain't meant for him. He's not cut out for it.
All right. Thank you, my sister.
Take care, y'all. Peace.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because that's where I learned this truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahweh Shai. And here we go again, man. Another, traitor to the nation. Another so-called black woman that's a sellout. And see, this is one of the reasons why, the Lord, he never had no woman set up to be, queen over all Israel, unless it was to mock them, to make fun of them. That's why we have King David, a man, as our king forever. That's why the Lord raised up, Yahweh Shai, all right, to die for the sins of the nation of Israel, not a woman. All right, that's why your nationality is determined through the seed of your father, according to Numbers 1:18. And just when you read about any Levitical priest or any king, or even the Messiah himself, the genealogy always mentions the men. And it's not to belittle the woman, it's just the fact that, these women are completely westernized. Even these so-called, sisters in the truth, they're westernized. All right, they follow and they worship the so-called white man. And what these people try and do is they try to incorporate that with our customs. And you cannot do that. All right, all this shit about metaphysical this, metaphysical that, look, enough of that already. And that's why our people went into captivity, because they're rebellious. And this is why, that's why the scriptures tell you in Proverbs 8:4, the Lord says what? Unto you, O men, I call, my voice is to the sons of men. Because women are emotional creatures. And these women are westernized. They come in with a worldly mindset, this queen of heaven worship spirit, everything is about me. We got to be equal, which any woman saying that you want equality, that's a sign of feminism, and that's a sign that you're westernized. And that's not being baptized by the renewing of your mind, all right? So these women, they're just westernized, man. And that's why the scriptures tell you that what? The woman, she's going to receive salvation through a man. She's going to be saved through childbearing. And you can Google the scripture. I don't need to lie about it. But, the 12 disciples, they were men. The prophets, they were men. You read about the prophetess. The prophetess is just a wife of a prophet. That's it. That's it. All right? So these women, especially our women, man, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian woman, worldwide, whether light skin, dark skin, is all about the seed. These women are westernized worldwide, man. They're all feminists, and the God of Israel, if they're not a part of the elect, the God of Israel is going to destroy them, like that woman that you see on the screen. The Lord is going to destroy her. Because the Lord is tired of that, man. Queen of heaven worship in spirit. And then the men of our nation, they go along with that. They allow that. They big these women up. They put them on a pedestal for what? So I'm just going to read, some scriptures, because the women of our nation, they're the biggest traitors ever. Here you had the so-called, you seen what the so-called black man went through. And even yourselves, what the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American woman went through in slavery, whether it was the 1492 on down to, the main slavery that everybody knows, that happened to the so-called Negroes. But we can't forget the so-called Hispanics and Native American Indian, women and men and children too, because they're Israelites. They're the lost 10 tribes of the nation of Israel. The women of our nation, they was raped, robbed, and murdered. All right? And here you have our women, you want to incorporate the philosophies that you learned from your enemy that rape, robbed, and murder you. The history we learned it in school. That tension that be in the room when you talk about slavery, somebody got to pay for that. But the women of our nation, what have they done? They taught the men and women of our nation to have this lay down mentality. If you can't beat them, join them mentality. And they're teaching and grooming their children, because, most kids, they grow up with a single mother. They grooming them to be the perfect slaves for the so-called white man. And that's why the scriptures tell you what? A woman became the beginning of sin, because she got deceived first by following the serpent. Even though the Lord, through a prophet that was in the garden, they don't give you the prophet name, even though he commanded and told her that what? Don't eat the fruit, which the fruit represent, the philosophies, the other nations, especially the most wicked philosophy coming from the serpent, which was the actual man. And what did her rebellious, stubborn ass do? She ain't listen. All right, she didn't listen to the Heavenly Father. So all these women, you want to be westernized, you want to live the American dream. You don't want to listen to the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian man. That's the true Israelites. You're going to be destroyed. Because our women sold us out for the benefits of white supremacy. Majority of them. All right, they sold us out. And even the ones that know that they're Israelites, those are the worst bitches you'll meet. And, if you offended at what I'm saying, I don't give a damn because I'm speaking through experience. So I can talk about it. I have the experience dealing with Israelite women. Those are some of the worst women that you'll ever meet. Now, I'm not saying all of them are bad, but a good bulk of them are. So these women, they know about the atrocities that was done to the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian man. The butt breaking, all that, man. Working in the cotton field, all right? Then you had the women of our nation after a while. When you read in slavery, they became promiscuous, meaning that they like that shit. So this shit ain't no different, man. They're a bunch of traitors. Majority of them, not all of them, but majority of them are traitors. This is Job 39:17. Because the Most High deprived her of wisdom. What's the true wisdom? The wisdom is going to be found in the Bible, which consists of the Apocrypha, that you're going to learn from men. All right, you're going to learn this truth from men through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And this woman right here, she got a problem with that. She wants to be equal. Which equality, that's a philosophy that come from the so-called white man. All right, and if you couldn't receive it, the so-called white man, the Edomites, in their past life, they were descendants of Cain. And then in the past life, it was the serpent, all right? Because the serpent, Cain, and Esau, they got the same cunning, subtle spirit. And the woman, they making the same mistakes, following the serpent. Equality and feminism, that's something that you learned from your oppressor, all right? From the so-called white man, the biblical Edomites. So these people is finished. And that's the problem with our people. You want to follow the philosophies of the heathens. If it ain't Esau you following the Hamites, the two top nations. And then third is who? Ishmael, the so-called Arabs. Stop following their philosophies. That was our downfall. You're never going to be like these people. They don't even like you. It says, neither have he imparted to her understanding. She clearly don't got understanding. If she's claiming that she was a Hebrew Israelite, she said that she had a problem because the Hebrew Israelites, they saying that, the Bible says that that men and women are not equal, that a woman should have no authority over a man. When a woman talks too much, you're going to say something stupid. It's not going to make sense. So he didn't impart in her understanding, because if she had any common sense, what would she do? She would stick with being a Hebrew Israelite. Because a real Hebrew Israelite will be able to debunk all these different philosophies. Most Hebrew Israelites, before we even come into the truth, what happens? We indulge in these different philosophies. We grew up, being Christians or being into science and all these different other philosophies that come from heathens. But then after a while, we understand that those philosophies, it can't answer why we in this condition. Only the Bible can. According to Isaiah 34:16. This is Isaiah 31, woe to the rebellious children. Our people is rebellious. Our woman is rebellious, man. The perfect slaves for the so-called white man. The so-called white man, he wants you to be a feminist. He loves that shit. Because most of them are sodomites. Most so-called white men are sodomites. They like that. They like being dominated by their women. Some of them are into shit like that. I'm not going to go, too deep into it, but a lot of them, they just born sodomites, for real. So they like seeing the so-called, women of our nation oppress the men. Why? Because that destroys us. And that's ultimately what Esau wants. Going back to Genesis chapter 27, verses 38 to 41. In the heart of every Edomite seed, whether it's light, dark skin, or look like a traditional Edomite, or even look like another nation. And that spirit is programmed to what? Slay their brother Jacob, slay that seed line. All right. So anyway, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Why you think he giving these career jobs to these so-called black women? It's to oppress the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian man. All right. He know what the hell he doing. That's why it says that the serpent was what? The most subtle beast in the field. He's cunning. It says, say the Lord that take counsel, but not of me. And that's what our people do. They follow in the philosophies of the heathen nations. And that's our downfall. It says, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that may add sin to sin. Following the heathen philosophies. Being a part of idolatry. All right? Look, in Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 1 and 2, the Lord commanded out of his prophet Jeremiah that what? That the Israelites should not be following the way of the heathen. Why you think the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and all these heathen civilizations? Because they're heathens. Their philosophies is vain. It's a figment of their imagination. Scriptures tell you that the heathens, when you read Psalms chapter 135, verses 15 through 18, you know how the heathen, they form their idols with their hands and worship it. Because that's what the heathen nations do. They form a philosophy based off of something that they don't understand, which ultimately just leads to them worshiping the creation more than the creator. That's what the heathen nations do. But us, according to, when I say us, I'm talking about the Israelites, right? The true children of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We were given the law, statutes, and commandments that according to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, it was to separate us from the heathen nations. So since our people fell away from that, what happened? They went into slavery. That's why they dyeing their hair blonde. They lesbians. You know, they sodomites. All right? That's why they doing the wicked things that they're doing. And it looks weird. It says, so that's it for that. This is Ezekiel 3 and 27. But when I speak with thee, and I will open thy mouth, because according to Luke 1 and 70, how does the Lord speak? He speaks to his men. He speaks to his prophets, which are men. All right? You're listening to one right now. And thou shalt say unto them, right, the children of Israel, because the Lord always raised up a prophet or a judge, you know, / king, to always speak unto the children of Israel. Tell them stop following the way of the heathen. It says, thus saith the Most High, he that heareth, let him hear, and he that forbeareth, let him forbear. So we don't, look, this truth ain't meant for all Hebrew Israelites to understand this truth. If you don't understand it, I don't give a fuck if you do. All right? And that's how we roll. That's how the spirit is. Matthew 7 and 6. Cast not thy pearls before swine. It don't matter if you believe or not. I believe. That's it. Because this truth is about what? The elect of the nation of Israel. It says, for they are a rebellious house. Our people is rebellious. You're going to waste your time talking to somebody that's being stiff-necked, that don't want to listen? Somebody that's in the what? Metaphysics? Which is pretty much, metaphysics pretty much is saying that, you know, just how, like, nature is pretty much. You know? Equality. When you search it up. There's probably more to it, but it's vain, though. All right? It's pretty much, you know, having an idea based off of, you know, the society that you're in. Oh, things should be like this. Things should be like that. Oh, this is how things is. That's pretty much what metaphysics is. Which leads to, you know, being spiritual, but not according to the Bible. So our people is a rebellious house. You don't have to waste your time talking to somebody. If they don't get it, they don't get it, move on. Then you're going to stress yourself out. You know, there's a precept in the Apocrypha. It tells you that the discourse with a fool is irksome. When you encounter somebody that's stupid, you don't even want to talk to them. It's going to annoy your spirit. Why are you going to stress yourself out talking to somebody that's not meant to get it? You understand it, that's it. Be with people that's like-minded like yourself. That's in the truth. Micah 7 and 10. Then she that is my enemy shall see it. And what's that talk about? Let's talk about these women. They want to believe in the philosophies of the heathen nations. They want to be feminists. They want to believe in equality. They want to live the American dream. That's going to be their downfall. Oh, you only care about your career. You don't care about being a good wife to a husband. Oh, you don't want to be submissive. Because that's the problem with our women. They don't want to be submissive. That's your downfall. Our women are masculine. And, there's a brother, he made a good point. And I always remember this quote that he said. He said the feminist movement, it doesn't have nothing to do with being feminine. It has to do with being masculine. They really want to be above a man. They don't want to be equal. So why when a man, hits a woman because the woman hit him first or is provoking him or does, something, bad, probably burn his clothes, slash his car tires, why when the man hit the woman, he get in trouble? If we supposed to be equal, right? But the point of this scripture is saying, then she that is my enemy shall see it. These women, they're going to have the same fate as Lot's wife. When this global economic collapse happens, when the recession hits all 50 states, because we in a recession right now. A lot of these farmers, they're in a recession in like 22 states. I was looking at it. When this stock market crash happens, especially the next false flag attack, which could be like an EMP attack, these women are going to know, damn, I should have listened to the man of the Lord. These quote-unquote sisters that, they used to be in the truth and now they not out, then they're going to know, damn, I should have stick with that. That's going to be their downfall. Because ultimately, if you believe in this society and this setup, what is that going to lead to? That's going to lead to you taking the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip implant. And that's going to be a downfall because you can't repent from that. Your name won't be written in the book of life if you get that. So these women are going to see martial law. The day is going to come where dressing like a whore, you got your camel toe all out. That's going to be done away with because men are going to ravish you in that day. That's just what's going to happen. That's what happens with the downfall of a society. All that bullshit of, feminism and equality, that goes out the window. Because men are forced to follow that for the most part. It says, and shame shall cover thee, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where's the Lord thy God? Because that's the mindset of these women. They adopted the same mindset as the so-called white man. Really the serpent. It says, my eyes shall behold her. The brothers that's in the truth, we're going to behold her. And now shall she be trodden down as the mire in the streets. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to be trodden down. That's going to be a downfall for believing in, Western philosophy. For believing in the philosophies of the heathen nations, the 17 heathen nations, which according to Deuteronomy 76, the nation of Israel is above them. Since you want to follow the philosophies of the heathen nations, Numbers 2 through 18, you're going to be destroyed for following them. So see if your gods or your, strange belief can deliver you in that day. So hopefully this was edifying.